Hi and welcome to Ignite Highlights. This is day number 2 and I'm still Johan and
I'm
this is
still Amy.
So welcome back. Hope you enjoyed our session from yesterday.
Yep, we are still recording in our TV
Little-
studio that we built in our basement. Very important to note, we are not at Ignite. I did hear via direct message that when someone saw our coverage from yesterday, they were super excited that we were actually at Ignite. We aren't, so stop looking for us. No matter what anyone tells you, we are not there.
Guaranteed not.
Yes.
So what's going on today, Amy?
There has been a lot of stuff going on today. First, as you know, as you heard me complain, the stream had a hiccup this morning, so a lot of us felt a little bit disappointed. I originally thought in the hiccup of the stream that they were just streaming developer content today. That was all that was showing up for me, and I was, oh, great. I have some friends who are developers. I do work for a software company, so give the developers some love. I was just salty because I thought we agreed that this Ignite was about Config Manager and Intune and the rebranding, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and just it's our time to shine. And I was heartbroken. And then they fixed it.
Yeah, they finally fixed it. So we've got some sessions this afternoon.
And if you missed anything, they do post the sessions 24 to 48 hours later. And they are also recording the theater sessions. And I think that they're also recording the unplugged sessions, the like user group type sessions that weren't recorded last year. So it's not just the breakout sessions that are recorded.
I hope so.
It's everything. Cool. Yeah, that's super great about this conference. You can't beat the networking that you get when you go to Microsoft Ignite. But if you choose to stay home or you just don't get approval to go, or for whatever reason you're not there, you do get to tune in one way or another, whether you're watching live or catching the recordings later. So it's really great of Microsoft to provide that opportunity for everybody.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
So, news for today.
Yeah, there is news for today, but I want to back up for a second because there's something that I wanted to cover yesterday and it just slipped my mind in all of our excitement to make the video. And that is a colleague of ours who pointed something out, attended a session yesterday and wrote a blog post about it. Mr. Niall Brady. He is very well known in the community, but if this is your first time hearing his name, you can find him on Twitter. His handle is @NCBrady. That's the easiest way to find him. So if you take a look at my screen, I do have his profile pulled up. He has it as a pinned tweet, and this is specifically about updating Surface firmware using the DFCI feature. So I want to first jump into some prerequisites before I actually show you what that looks like. It is a way to manage UEFI firmware settings. So you can, first of all, turn it on and say, hey, do I want to allow the end user to control UEFI settings, such as turning on and off the camera or microphone or other things, or do I, as the IT admin, want to own that?
Yeah.
The device has to be running at least Windows 10, 1809 or higher. So that kind of tells you that it's going to be a more modern Surface that you'll actually be doing this on. So you can't pull your super old, very first Surface, which isn't even supported anyway, out of the closet and try to change settings. Just needed to throw that out there. I'm sure someone, aka me or you, who likes to test if things are really or really not possible. Modern devices. This is for modern right now devices and devices going forward. Also, the device has to be enrolled in Intune as well as Autopilot, but here's the catcher. It's not supported for you to manually enroll a DFCI compliant device into Intune and then expect to manage the UEFI settings. That's because there has to be a sort of third-party check step, however you want to call it, to make sure that you actually own those devices. So right now, the OEM can do it, or if you use a CSP to get your devices, they can do it as well.
That's cool.
So what it looks like in Intune, it isn't a, hey, who moved my cheese kind of thing. It's in the device configuration profile settings. So if you're familiar with creating device profiles, then you've already gone this far. So you would just go into profiles, create a profile. You would simply give it a name and a platform, obviously Windows 10. And then it's super easy to find. It's not buried. Device firmware configuration interface. It's in preview. And as I said, you can turn it on or off. You can change some settings about it, such as the camera, microphone, stuff like that. Then you would obviously save the setting and then apply it to devices. And back in the day, Michael Niehaus wrote a blog post on how to dynamically create what you would call, well, they're groups, but we would call them device collections and config manager, which is the first word that popped into my head, which is why I was stuttering a bit. Just a dynamic. Slow down, Amy. A way to dynamically, I'm so excited about this, I can't get it all out. Dynamically create groups so that you can get all of your DFCI compliant devices, aka your Surface devices, using the ZTDID tag to say, hey, everyone who was bought on this PO or whatever. You can check out the blog post. The link is here in the address bar, and we can also
put it nicely in the comments.
Put it nicely in the comments as well, so that you can go through that post if you haven't actually done that step to create dynamic device groups. Because obviously you're not going to apply this setting to all of your devices. That's a bit like taking a GPO setting and applying it to everybody in your organization. Not really the smartest move. It might be benign, but still, that's not really how we do things around here. So I'm told. But enough about me. Do you have anything that you'd like to report on?
Well, first of all, a little bit curious about that pig.
My pig? So this pig has a story. I bought this pig for Narkis. Narkis is a PM on the DO team.
Delivery optimization, yes.
Yes, delivery optimization team. And I love her. So I bought her a pig. That's what you do for people that you love. I bought her a pig because we meaning the community, would lovingly call the DO cache Doink.
Yeah, it was delivery optimization in network cache.
Yes.
Was the previous name. So
exactly. So I thought, why not buy Narkis a pig? But we kept thinking that we'd run into each other first at the MVP Summit, because I bought this very early in the year. I was going to give it to her at the MVP Summit, and then I thought we'd catch up at MMS, and then I ended up not going to Ignite, and then she's not going to MMS Jazz. So who knows when I'll see Narkis again. And
no.
It's kind of fitting because this is a pig flying, and the pigs have flown because Doink has been renamed.
Yep, rebranded as usual.
Yeah, this is like the rebranding conference. It is now called the Microsoft Connected Cache.
Yes. So MCC then?
MCC, and there's really no farm animal that I can think of.
Moo cow is pretty close.
Moo cow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We figure out something, but Connected Cache is basically rebranded, the changed name for Doink. And it's not only that, it's actually two different types of it now. We have the traditional one that came included with Config Manager, still under distribution point settings. But there is also a standalone version for organizations not having Config Manager. And that one is basically a container that is managed through Azure. Not free. You still need to have a license, E3, E5, and all that fun stuff. But at least now you can have it caching content.
Yes, that's very shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yay! And then there was the other announcement from Mr. David. Ends with an 11.
Oh, yes. Been a long day. And it's so funny because I have the config manager, or the Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager console pulled up as I pulled a blank for you talking. So TP 1911 is out. Yay!
With the rebranding.
With rebranding. So if you look at my screen, I already have Zoom It in. If you've seen any of my sessions, you know how much of a struggle it is for me to remember Zoom It, to use it correctly. So I had it pre-staged. Here you go, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So this is typically what you see when you launch the console, and the rebranding is very clear, as well as the announcement, and you can get more information to send on to your boss if they're wondering why you quit calling it SCCM. First of all, you should have never called it that anyway.
Should be Config Manager.
However, if you did, I forgive you. And going forward, let's agree to call it by its proper name.
So it's either going to be Config Manager, and I've seen some different hashtags flowing around on Twitter today. So it's either be MEMCM. I'm not sure where they got that middle M from, but I've also seen people call it MECM.
Yeah, so I wondered the same thing. So I asked David James via tweet, and I don't know if he thought that I was joking or just had too many tweets and he didn't see mine. I was wondering where the extra M came from, because I was like, I want to call it what you want to call it, but I don't understand what the M is for. And when I figured it out, it's actually really smart. So as you know, Intune used to be its thing, Config Manager its thing, desktop analytics its thing. And then they all started coming together. So the adding in the extra M is pulling in everything under one umbrella. So when we're talking about config manager, we are talking about Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager.
Yes.
Because that is the specific product.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about the umbrella of products, and I think Satya kind of explained it best in the keynote, that this is kind of becoming a holistic solution to allow admins to get insight and to make decisions and do actions on their entire IT landscape through this product. So then it started making sense. I should actually call it by the full umbrella name because I'm not going to be doing all of my actions within one of the single products that's under the whole umbrella. If that makes sense. So MEMCM.
Okay.
Okay?
Time will tell.
Yes.
Then, of course, there was a great session by Mr. Niehaus. He is doing, as usual, his autopilot session.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of old stuff that was like just being sort of put together in how he managed to fit that into 45 minutes, I have no idea. But he basically took the entire suite of platforms or solutions inside autopilot and went through that together with his colleague in 45 minutes. So in the end, though, they spent a good chunk of about 10-12 minutes covering new features, upcoming features.
Yeah.
So, for example, the ability to tag computers, as you mentioned before.
Uh-huh.
So you can easily sort them in groups in Intune because that's how you assign profiles. The ability to, for basically like service providers, CSPs that help build computers in larger environments, or they have a large staging lab, and they will automatically become green or red, the screen, depending on whether it succeeds or fails in the environment. So that allows the technician to very easily see.
Wait a minute. You invented that. You are the father of red failure deployment screens because you did that for a customer that had a very large, we'll call it warehouse type layout for a certain project where they flew you in.
We did a conference, and they wanted to figure out when machines failed, when they lost the network or something.
And the only way to find that out in this sea of computers was to turn the screen bright red.
So we had a scheduled task that was looking for certain things in the environment, and when we lost management connectivity or lost connectivity to their platform they were using, it will turn red. So
it's okay that Niehaus didn't give you credit. All that matters is that I remembered.
Oh, thank you. Anyhow, VPN support is something they're working on, and that's especially for the hybrid join scenario, which currently requires that the machine actually can see the domain controller, which is kind of tricky if you're on Starbucks because it's a long way to the office. Yeah. Possibly. Uh-huh. So they are working on both a new plugin for Autopilot so that you can do like this user-based logon session where you log in with your name and password or whatever credential you're using for your VPN. But they're also working on integrating it with a always on VPN that you have in Windows 10.
Yeah, that important thing about understanding how VPNs work is that if you have to authenticate for the first time, you have to be connected to the domain controller. So that kind of answers that final piece. One of the things that there were several things that stood out to me in that session. The thing that I love about Ignite and listening to presenters like Niehaus is that you hear things and you're like, I've never heard that before. And I'm quite sure that he said it before, but I remember pausing the video and asking you, holy cow, when did they allow you to use Autopilot? And the end user logs in, but without a password using their phone.
Oh, the self-deploying kiosk? Yeah.
Apparently, that's been around for a while, but it's cool to, be like, oh, hey, surprise, it's new, but it's not. But anyway, that, and then I had said yesterday that one of the keynote presenters was talking about the whole giving the end user the feeling that IT is listening to me. This is another, hey, Microsoft is listening to us. When Niehaus had mentioned that nobody likes Microsoft's naming conventions that they've given us, let's face it. But they're finally relenting and allowing us going forward to specify any name. Yeah. And obviously, once you've married that name to the device with Autopilot, the next time it's redeployed, it maintains that name.
If you reset it,
Oh, that's super shiny. Yay!
Final thing, they are making a deployment report so you can get some status or monitoring of your machines that are being deployed, what profiles they had, and what settings you applied, etc. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Whew,
Oh my goodness, we did it.
Yeah. So that's all for day number 2. Thank you for joining, and we hope to see you tomorrow again.
Tomorrow? Yes.
All right.
Bye.